Want dat is ooit gek cool. Nee, we zijn geswitcht even naar online. En
zeker. Zo flexibel zijn we vandaag.
En we moeten wel... we doen onze eigen techniek, wat overmooi uit is. En we hebben...
We switchen even naar...
we switchen ook naar Engels, hè?
We're going to switch to...
Zo, wij hebben... you've got a guest?
Yeah, we've got... Yeah. I do the introduction.
Yeah, he's gonna do an introduction, of course.
Hello, Pini. Okay. So, welkom, Pini, in the live podcast.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's not the first time you join us in the podcast, but let's do a quick recap. Pini Reznik, CEO from Re-Cinq, and can you give a little introduction about yourself and what Re-Cinq is doing in the landscape?
Yeah. So I'm personally a former engineer, and doing this for a very long time. And previous company, Container Solutions, was all about containers and Kubernetes. But this company is Re-Cinq. So our current focus is all about AI implementation. So basically, large scale AI transformations for IT companies, but also we increasingly see more and more non-IT companies that are adopting AI and solving their business problems. It's all about AI and AI natives today.
Okay, yes. The last time we spoke, it was all about sustainability. And if we look back if we look now at sustainability, just to go get head in first. Sustainability, is it still sustainable? Is there how is that part developing at the moment?
To be clear, I'm still totally into this. We as a company very much committed to sustainability as people, as company, and as a service provider to our customers. But what we figured out in the last year and a half since we started is sustainability as a business is not sustainable. In a sense that very few companies are actually willing to pay for it. Which means that there's a lot of things we could do. It's fact of life. We can argue about stupid or smart, but the fact is that there is no business case right now. And business case is either creating money or saving money. In reality, our main assumption was that the regulation will force companies into actually doing something about it. In reality, regulation doesn't force companies to do anything except reporting, which is actually not setting any goals or any reduction. So you can just send a nice PDF with a couple tables to the government, and that's about the stars you need to go from regulation perspective.
That sounds like missing the mark, because the ideas and the regulations were very of the makers about that were very busy. And promoting that companies should do more sustainability, and it seems like a little bit that it's the awareness is there, but it's slowly moving a little bit to the background. Is that a wrong impression?
I think the motivation is there. People really care. I think we met a lot of very smart and caring people that wanted to do something, but the businesses are not willing to put money on it, and there's always something else to do. There's always higher priority for the business. So in this sense, government, in my opinion, actually trying to make money out of it, government didn't do a very good job in actually making it practical and supporting businesses like ours. And by the way, if we did help few companies to actually achieve certain sustainability goals, we can save a lot of money too, because sustainability and money are very much related. But still, it's not a priority. It is clearly not a priority, not in financial sense, not in business case sense. It's only the companies that are committed to it ideologically are currently doing anything about it.
So what needs to change? If I can change one thing tomorrow about this subject, well, what would you do?
Good question.
So first, I think regulation can help. It just needs to have practical goals. Like you need to set a goal. The reporting is fine, right? You need to measure where you are right now, but you have to set aggressive goal to reduce 10% next year, 30% the year after. If you set those goals, then the companies will have no choice, like GDPR. GDPR, no one cared about it until a year before it was mandatory, right? right now there are no mandatory reduction goals. So you have to make it mandatory. You have to either do that or create carbon tax. So you have to make it financially beneficial for the businesses. Otherwise, it's irrelevant, unfortunately, again.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, financial beneficial or, yeah, like punishing them, but that's the wrong incentive.
Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, incentive is an incentive. It's a station parent, right? You probably should do both if I would be the government, right? But I'm not. But at current stage, there are a few companies that are making a lot of money from it on reporting, and there is massive bureaucracy around ESG. But practically speaking, I think our only choice to solve the sustainability problem is innovate forward. So but our goal was to basically help companies to optimize their current setup and reduce their footprint by using this, not regressing back into not using things, but sort of just using as much as you need, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Because most companies are wasting 50% of their resources on that. And but the real solution will come from the sources of energy and new way for bigger things that we need to actually innovate towards. And that's actually also an argument with connecting it back to AI. AI is sort of short term is harm for environment because it consumes so much energy and compute.
Mm-hmm.
But longer term, it's the tool that will help us to actually solve the problem by inventing new sources of energy, and new solutions, and create greener world.
Okay.
It's a great bridge to
The book.
you're writing a new book. NX transformation, cloud native to AI native. Could you elaborate a bit about that?
Yes. So about 5-6 years ago, I wrote a previous book, cross-book for O'Reilly called Cloud Native Transformations. And that was about our experience then of starting, basically. That was already 5 years after we started company around cloud native. And that was about beginning of the transformation. So how companies should start small and then scale over time and transition to the new technologies. This book, the next one, which is coming around September, coming out, it's about sort of 5 years later, the outlook on where those companies that actually started transformations 5 years ago. So what does it mean to get to maturity and full scale and full everything functional? Like what it actually means to be mature cloud native company. But it's also about the next wave of innovation. So the book is called from Cloud Native to AI Native, Waves of Innovation. And the story is about the transformation itself, but cloud native is the wave that is sort of at its peak, at its maturity. And the next wave, which is AI native, is coming now, and we're still figuring out what it actually means.
Yeah. So do you see that a lot of companies are missing the wave?
Actually, there is so much motivation to jump on it. This is definitely we don't need to convince anyone that AI is the thing. I think there's a lot of misunderstandings. A lot of companies sort of jumping too fast or not the right way. The same mistakes companies have made 5-7 years ago with cloud native transformation, they're now making with AI native transformation. For example, they're starting too big, too early, on ignoring it or thinking this is just a tiny technological change. We just do Copilot on the side and it turns out the code and we are great. In reality, it's transformational change because it will force us to change our organizations, our development processes, our architecture of our software, everything. And we don't yet know for sure how it will look like. The same way as about 7, 8, 9 years ago, when Kubernetes was only released, we didn't really know what the ecosystem on top of it would look like. And now we do.
Yeah. But do you think companies, is the logical order to go first cloud native and then AI native? Or do you just go directly from I'm here, skip cloud native and go to AI native?
That's a very, very good question, because there are analogies from that. There are countries that never had landlines for phone landlines, right? Like in Africa. And then at some point they just skipped altogether and went into mobile phone, and they never put the landlines in the ground, just skipped the wave. So I think it's possible. I just was yesterday in a company that their Oracle and very much monolithic, and they're going to be in the next book actually as a case study. And they still can use AI in many ways. For example, refactoring their old PLSQL code or writing new components directly with the help of AI. So I think it's possible to skip it. But I do think that it's much easier to go from cloud native to AI native. There are some elements like distributed compute. Like AI only helps you to build things. What kind of things? Are they distributed? Are they monolithic? Are they running in the cloud? So I guess you can do AI both with monolithic Oracle and with distributed Kubernetes-based microservices, right? So I'm not sure there's a really, really strong connection, but I would imagine the companies that are still in monolithic waterfall state, they are less innovative and they will struggle to transition, right? Not because of their technologies, but because it sort of suggests that they're struggling to innovate.
Right. Okay.
Cool. You talked about a third party of a third. I don't want it. Like countries like Ethiopia that they're skipping
Headlines.
the lines. Think those countries will go faster with the knowledge we're bringing them? Are they? Because they're missing some background, like they didn't. Go to standard machines. They're going directly to cloud or directly to AI native.
I think the life suggests that they will not be better off. And we see those countries that, they skipped the technology of landlines, not because they have a choice, but because it's just cheaper and they're still struggling. So those countries, the reason they didn't have the landlines is because they didn't have infrastructure. Last year, a couple of years ago, I was traveling in Caribbean with my wife after we sold container solutions. And I distinctly remember being in Dominican Republic, right? It's not super poor country, but it's amazing to see how little infrastructure they have. Like they have one road going across the country. You go, there are villages, but there are no roads. There's no central services. Like you travel across any country in Europe and you see how amazing the infrastructure and everything is. Even the poorest countries like Albania, right? They're still very advanced. And I think in this sense, the companies who are still very old, very traditional, very waterfall, they didn't go through the cloud native transformation. They will struggle to adopt technologies, even if they have it. So they will have AI, but they are missing what they need to go through proper transformation and figure out how to actually to use those technologies. So I would say, we're not better off, but not because of AI, but because of lack of infrastructure and expertise.
Okay. Another question. You're really busy with AI. Do you know the Turing trap? Do you know that the Turing trap is AI replacing normal people?
Yes.
Yeah, is that gonna happen?
Good question. So yes and no. And I'm actually working on talk for Kubernetes Community Day for Utrecht. This is a big question. The answer is both yes and no. It's in the same way as tractors replaced agriculture workers, like people going after the horse in a field. It is obviously going to happen. Who doesn't see it is just blind and ignores it. And so there are sort of people thinking in terms of black and white. Either everything will be replaced by AI or it will not work. So it will obviously replace certain tasks that we're doing today. And a lot of them are software development tasks or white-collar tasks like accounting or legal practices or all kind of other things. But I think overall, what AI allows is actually it democratizes custom software development. It allows companies that never could build custom software, allow them they're actually capable of building custom software. So we have these customers, let's say 50 people customer in Denmark that they're building this liquid funds. They're construction company. They're building things, right? So they are not software company. They have no capabilities in software, and they would not be able to afford, let's say, €1 million to spend on building custom piece of software that you need to build anything meaningful. Now, for less than 100, you can build something that actually dramatically reduces the bureaucracy and paperwork. So suddenly those companies, millions of those companies across the world, they have access to custom software that never did. So that will actually create massive wave of consumption and creation of software, just in different ways. I think we are, today, the only companies that can afford building software are either software companies or larger enterprises that they have element of software development, like banks. But this change allows private individuals and small businesses to build custom software. This will bring massive explosion of software creation, I think.
But I talk a lot with developers, and if I tell them vibe coding, they all go running away, and because is this a kind of
the point? I think this is very naive way of looking at it, which is sort of, if you look in our own field of cloud native, if you go back and you see tools like Puppet, Chef, Ansible, CF Engine, they were the tools that they replicated human behavior known at that period of time, right? So sort of like humanoid robots. They would run the same commands as humans did, just automatically. This is very naive way of looking at it. And in reality, the robotics they created for like a robotic arm or Roomba robots or grass mowers. So when the machines, they take their own shapes and they change the way we do things. And I think in software development, something similar is going to happen. So the naive way of looking into like vibe coding, a random non-developer can just say like, build me an application and deploy it to the cloud. Well, that's not happening. Like it may happen 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or maybe even 2 years from now. At this point, it's not practical. Setting up cloud is not possible with AI that easily. You need still some sort of Kubernetes to run the tooling. Actually, my co-founder wrote a very good blog post about that. How much effort it goes into connect Confluence to Slack, to be able to talk to a chatbot from Slack to Confluence. It's easy in a sense that it took him less than a week, but it required a lot of different tasks that a normal person who doesn't understand Kubernetes and cloud would never be able to do. So I think the cost of development of such solution dramatically dropped, but it still requires development skills or engineering skills.
Okay. Follow-up question. Do you think, because I use AI tools a lot, and I always see that they give me the most difficult way to solve a problem. And it's really cool. It's pretty. It's a lot of code. So I will ask a simple question. I will get a difficult answer. And if I get that, developers get that also, I think. So is our software getting more complex by using AI or not? Or what's your view on that?
That's a very interesting question. I don't think I consider it this way. I think there are all kind of, it's probably both ways. I think on one side, we need to consider that current LLMs or current tooling we have around AI are still fairly primitive. They look quite impressive, but they're still in early days. You can imagine the speed of development, with current speed of development in the next 5 years, how far we can get. So I think it will be easier, it will be simpler, but actually it could be much more complex. But would you care? Like Python is way more complex than assembly. Do we care? Right? Because it's another layer of abstraction. What the simplicity needs to be in the interface we are talking to the computer. And that interface becomes human language, English or Dutch or any, actually, it doesn't matter which language, right? But you speak to computer in human language. That's the simplicity that AI gives us. Which code is written? Do you really care? Like today we do care because we don't trust the code that AI writes.
Yeah.
That's why, right? which is fair. It means that we need to test it, right? It means that it needs to be written in a way that we need to understand it. So there needs to be explainability and human in the loop, right? And those things are quite difficult to achieve because the machines are sort of not really smarter than us, but they are more complex. They are doing things in the way that we don't understand. So it's increasingly more and more difficult for us to actually understand what's going on and control them. But once that is somewhat resolved, and I think we are going on the way that we will have an interface, which is human English language, that we talk to a computer, and it does the work well enough so we don't need to test it. And we use another LLM to test it, maybe, or we create tests. There are ways to deal with it. Then why would you care if it's complex or not? Right? It's just another layer of abstraction.
Yeah, but I want to avoid another Skynet, a new Skynet.
We never had a Skynet, but we may actually get it. But this is something else. This is AGI, artificial general intelligence. I have, there's so many people talking about this. I think it's so futuristic. There are arguments that will be here in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, never. I really don't know. I'm not just not expert. I really, really don't know. So, but this is something where computers become better than us in everything they do.
Yeah, but I also saw some news in, I read a lot, that 50% of the internet is now AI generated, and the AI is training on its own AI generated. So is AI getting smarter, or are we in a vicious loop that AI is it's the smartest at the moment and it's getting dumber?
So I heard stories both directions, right? So on one side, once we fed all the information we have to AI, at that point there is nothing new to learn, so it will have to start generating new information.
Yeah.
But that information will be generated on the old information. So we're in this sort of closed loop. And then there is an argument that there will be sort of a collapse of everything because, whatever, there are all kind of explanations for that. I don't think so. I think what's interesting with current AI models like ChatGPT or Gemini is that they're oddly human, right? So there are few examples. For example, it does give different answers in different times of the day, like we do. Or if you ask for a clock, it always tells you 10 to 2. So a clock with 2.
A happy face.
Yeah. Yeah. Because most of the clocks on the internet are like that. So that's the model it knows. You can theoretically generate a lot of faces of the watch with different times and then feed it into another LLM. So I think that would be useful. So you can have new data generated automatically that will help to teach the model. So I don't believe that this will be the end of learning. I think we will generate more artificial data, and I think LLMs will use it and become smarter. But is there a limit? I mean, this I don't know. Yesterday, I was arguing with a guy that he was arguing with me that LLMs are not, they are deterministic. And I was like, for practical purposes, they are not deterministic. So every time you ask a question, you get a different answer. In reality, there is a temperature. You can set it to 0 and then it will be deterministic. Every time it will give you the same answer, but then it is not practical. So no one is going to use a tool like that. So what's the point of that? But so this is a philosophical argument that, I don't know. Let's wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but on the other side, also you should also prevent that it's just a quick fix. That's also what you write about in the book, about the call center situation.
Right. I think what people, this is real. I think there is misunderstanding what AI is. I think a lot of people think that AI is replacing people, and that's sort of what you asked in the beginning. Is AI going to replace people? Yes, it will replace certain tasks, but AI is not replacing people. It's augmenting people. It helps people to do more with less. So when a person driving a tractor yes, the people who did go after the horse and dug in the ground, they are theoretically replaced, but practically less people can do more work with machines. So that's why I believe that a typical software developer, their work will change, but they are not going to be replaced if they know how to adapt. If they don't know how to adapt, that is unfortunate for them. And I don't know what's going to happen to them.
Cool. That's
Yeah.
that's a great statement.
Yeah. So, as you know, we also have a final question.
Yes.
How do you see the future of Kubernetes in this?
Right. It is a very good question because I don't believe that Kubernetes is a good fit for AI. I think right now most of the AI would run on Kubernetes in some this way or another. But I think it's the same thing as old technologies like Puppet and Shift that when containers started, they were gradually replaced. I think there will be sort of AI alternative for Kubernetes. So there will be a new platform, a new orchestrator that is more appropriate for AI and will replace gradually Kubernetes. But it's not going to happen soon. I don't know its name. It's likely already being built, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how it will look. I don't even have an idea at all what it means at all. But I really don't think that Kubernetes is the right tool looking 10 years forward.
Okay. Well, we can ask Chris from CNCF later on what he...
So I've got a question still. Your book, you're writing that, and it's still, you're still writing that. When are we going to read that? When can I read it?
It's actually in editing already, so the process takes about 3 months. So it's expected to be in Amazon in September. In the meanwhile, we took a couple of chapters from the book and then published it as a mini book, sort of promo. But if you go to our website, you can find it and download it for free, just to sort of get an impression and give us feedback. It's not a full story; it's just sort of a general idea where it's going.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Well, Pini, thank you so much for joining our podcast and make a generous donation for the Voedselbank. And
Absolutely. Thank you for the invitation again. It's great to be here again, and I really appreciate the initiative and the food bank and everything around it. So it's great job.
well.
Thank you for the invitation.
see you soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Probably in Utrecht.
Probably next week, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Dat is een goed moment. Dat geeft mij nog even het moment om nog een keer te doneren. En challenge. Is er al wat mee gebeurd?
Ik heb hier geen mailbox open staan. Dus, maar gaan we checken.
Maar